Hello students, welcome to this Frames 5 video tutorial on sports, part 6. Please open your sports file from Frames 5 from your application screen. Now if you remember, where we left off is where the baseball was hitting our villain. So make sure you've selected the last frame, make sure you use the slider so that you know you're at the end of your animation. And we're going to duplicate this last frame. Make sure you're on the last frame, hit duplicate. Okay, so we did something very similar in previous tutorials. So we're going to add a visual sound effect here. So let's click on the library panel. Let's make sure that we go back to the home screen. Let's double click clip art and let's double click cartoon. Okay, so if you remember in previous tutorials, we used this visual sound effect, crack. So let's see if there's another appropriate one to show this contact here between the ball and our villain. We can either use BAM or we can use POW. So that's up to you. So I'm going to click on POW and then I'm going to click on the green arrow. Okay, so again, as we did in previous tutorials, we want to resize that visual sound effect, and then we want to place it between the ball and the villain. Okay, now we want to give a little bit of time for this frame, for the audience to know what's happening and to read that visual sound effect. So let's click back on the Tools panel. And let's change 0.2 to 0.5. Okay. All right. So let's see how that plays. So we can just click on any random frame here. We can go back a few frames and then hit play. Okay. All right. So got a little bit of cleanup to do. So let's go back to this frame here where the villain says, "I am evil, I hate baseball." So I think you know what we got to do when I say we got to clean this frame up. We got to go in now and we've got to delete our guiding line. Okay? So make sure you do that. Make sure you click on that guiding line and then hit delete. Make sure you use the slider so that you can see all of your frames. Okay. All right. So let's go all the way back to the first frame. Let's click on frame 1 and click play. Let's watch the entire animation so far. Okay. Did everything look smooth? Again, you want to check your rotations of your ball, and what I realized was there was one frame here where I did not rotate the ball. I noticed that when I was watching it. So what I've got to do is I've got to go back and I've got to fix this one. I've got to rotate it a quarter turn. And then, of course, that's going to affect all the other ones behind it. So that's the thing, is that when you've made a mistake, you've got to fix it, or else, somebody else is going to notice. I'm going to notice. So I had to turn my onion skin back on, and because of the one frame that I missed rotating, it screws up all the other frames after it. So I've got to go in and rotate all of the other baseballs behind it because I missed one rotation. Okay, so this is just something that you've got to keep in mind. As an animator, you've got to be able to tell yourself, you know what, I saw a mistake, I'm going to go back and fix it. You've got to be able to do that. And actually, as it turns out, I only had to fix a couple, and everything else seems, the rotation seems okay. All right, I'm going to click off onion skin, and I'm going to watch that end part again from this point. And I'm going to hit play. I'm going to make sure that the rotation of the ball is consistent. It's still spinning, right? Okay, very good. Okay, so we're going to add one last thing. So make sure you're on the final frame, and let's duplicate. Now the final frame, again, we changed it to 0.5. So make sure you click on the final frame and duplicate. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get rid of the POW. Okay. We're going to click on the shape tool and then click on the rectangle. We're going to keep the stroke color black, and we're going to keep the fill color, we're going to change it to black. So here's what we want to do. We want to black out those red eyes, like that. Okay? Then we want to use the pencil tool. We want to change the stroke color to white. No fill color is necessary. We're going to play around with the width, and then what we're going to do is we're going to draw two crosses or X's like this to show that the villain is now knocked out. Okay? Okay. Let's deselect. To deselect, you can click on the tools. If you don't like what you've drawn, then simply undo and draw it again. It might take you a few tries to get the right look. Okay? All right, so I'm going to click on the tool, the arrow tool, and I'm going to deselect. All right, let's hit save. So this concludes this animation project on sports. Please save your work and call Mr. Ueda over to show him your completed animation. Thanks for watching and good job. Bye.